Good evening. Welcome to this newest edition of Doorway to the Paintings. Here's another interesting one. The ancient pillars, the columns, almost looks like a dream. It's dark, but you can see the sky is blue, so it's almost morning. Well, technically it is morning. If it's after 12 a.m., it's morning. But really late at night. Pretty soon the sun's going to come up, but I like this blue sky right before it gets daylight. Still dark, but blue in the background. It's like a dream. One of my favorites. I did this a number of years ago. I forgot how many years. I think it was probably 6 years ago, maybe. Let's take a closer look at it, shall we? I really like trees like this. Really matches the painting. And there they are, my columns. I like the bushes, particularly in this painting. I really like the bushes and then the green against this rather dark background. It really highlights them. I love putting vines in many of my paintings. It's got to fit, but I think in this painting it fits nicely, and it's around the pillar. The green grass. Now, there's some impressionism in here. It's a little too bright for nighttime, but you can do that. It's art. Mostly this is reality, though. This painting primarily looks realistic rather than an impressionable piece, but clear, almost crystal clear. Almost crystal clear water. It starts way in the back and comes all the way up to the front. And in the background you got more pillars. I like those. Like an ancient Greek civilization from the past, or these are ruins from the past. They're still standing. You can walk through there. The idea behind this painting was, number one, I like the style. I like the columns and the vines, the tree, and then how the moonlight comes through. Talk about that light in a minute, but yeah, the idea behind this one is almost like a dream. I pictured this being like in a dream, or maybe you go through a doorway or a gate to another dimension, and you, like if it was a movie, you would walk through a door in your house, open the door, then you'd walk out here into a different dimension. And then maybe around here in a cave or in a hole in the ground or some other doorway, you would find a gateway or a doorway to the villains or the creature or the bad guy, whoever's in that role. You would find the entrance to his or her domain. Maybe like Gromus. That's what I initially thought about. Gromus's domain, where you would find a door where you can get into his domain, his underground prison. But other than that, I thought about a dream. Maybe it's on the other side of the coin. I also thought about an enchanted, nice place, peaceful place, and a nice dream. It doesn't have to be a nightmare. It could be a nice dream. can almost hear the water flowing now. You go back, who knows what's in the forest. That's why I like putting pretty decent background in my paintings, because not only does it give it depth, but you can imagine walking back there and going behind the trees, maybe finding another place like this, or an enchanting or pleasant village, or maybe just more trees and a peaceful place. I zoom in a little bit on this pillar. Zoom in on those stones. Yeah, it's a pleasant painting to look at. And you got the moon, crescent moon, and then the light shining through. There's a couple techniques that you can use to get that light shining through. Sometimes people use a dry brush technique. Other people, what I did with this one was I just basically waited for the tree to dry, the leaves and everything to dry, and then I worked on other parts of the painting. I worked on the pillars and then some other aspects, and once it dried, I mixed water with just the littlest amount of white paint and took my brush and just let it go across the canvas. That's all I did. I got it wet with just the littlest amount of white paint. Then I could start anywhere I wanted. Start anywhere I wanted and come right down as far as I wanted to go. Same thing over here. That's the technique I like using. It's not the only technique, but yeah, the branches, the roots, the bottom looks really cool. And then the shadow, I put shadow in there. Almost looks like an eye or two eyes, and then you got a mouth. Boo, or ooh. The wolf man or some other creature can reach around the corner. Maybe a bear or another threat. Yeah, it can fit into like a scary movie or just a pleasant dream. Fantasy movie. It doesn't have to be always scary, but it's thrilling, especially you have a scary, interesting villain. But it's peaceful. It's one of those paintings that's really pleasant for me to look at. I enjoy looking at it. I can view it before I go to sleep. Kind of relaxes me, or maybe even put some nice pleasant music on, classical music, and then just look at it until your eyes get heavy. Six or 7 years ago, I think I painted this, if memory serves me right. In other paintings that I've done too, I like having the blue background. I heard that a lot of creative people and just across the board creative people get some of their best thoughts at that time of the night when it's really late at night and the sky starts to turn blue because morning is approaching. But it's affected me too. I've got some of my good ideas from that, but mostly my ideas come from just kind of meditating, just closing my eyes and reimagining a lot of the stuff I've read or watched. Usually most of my inspirations come from movies and shows I watched growing up. Twilight Zone was a big influence on me. Night Gallery. Superman. Wizard of Oz. There's some symbolism and some archetypes that you can find in a lot of those classics. Yeah, this took me probably, usually my nature paintings don't take me that long, but because of all this stuff and then the rocks here and then waiting for those to dry and then putting all the details, it probably took me a good 2 hours, maybe 3. Usually my nature paintings, a lot of them just take me an hour or less, but this one I think because of the pillars, which are not that hard to do, but after they dried I put the foliage around them, and you don't always have to let them dry, but I kind of like to do that and work on other parts of the painting. But yeah, it's been a while, so I can't remember how long it took me. Normally my nature paintings don't take that long, but this one might have taken me 2 or 3 hours. A lot of the detail on the tree I'm proud of, I'm happy with. Could have made it look more realistic, but why? There's so many different types of art, and sometimes the paintings that don't look that realistic are better than the ones that are, and the ones that are more realistic are better than the ones that aren't. So there's a lot of variables. This tree matched the rest of the painting well. And I wanted it to be bright up front and then not as bright in the back, of course, but a little extra bright in front. So in real life it wouldn't be this bright, but especially with the moon in the back. But art it's a wonderful thing. You can make things the way you want them so they stand out more. Be more creative. Make people see what you want them to see to a large degree. It's a nice place I'd like to go to take a vacation, actually. Yeah, I always put, not always, but many times in my paintings, I put vines around the pillars and coming down to the bottom, and then sometimes, I don't know if I did it here or not, but I put the leaves all the way down into the water. Some of the vines in some of my other paintings are actually in the water, being dragged by the water downstream. Or yeah, it's a pleasant painting to look at, and I think I have quite a few that are similar to this, but I think this is one of the best that I've done. It's just pure nature. There's no characters. When I first started painting, I just painted nature. That's all I did, was painted nature. That's how I started out. Before I started painting, I drew characters with pencil and pen, but I always painted just nature, and then I started adding characters a little bit later. Not a long time later, but a little bit later. I hope you enjoyed this painting. I sure enjoyed painting it when I did. If you like this video, consider subscribing. Please hit the like button, and I'll see you again next time with more of Doorway to the Paintings, and I'll have another good painting for you to look at before you drift off to deep sleep. Bye, everybody. Don't forget the moon.